Hey guys, personal injury lawyer Scott DeSalvo here, and I thought I would shoot you a video today. In today's video, I'm going to talk about what makes a $100,000 settlement case. What kind of injuries, what kind of case do I need to settle my case or get a verdict for $100,000 or more? What goes into it? What are we looking for? Okay? So the first thing you need to know is that, let's say it's a car crash case, right? If it's a car crash case or an injury on property or a dog bite case, something like that, or even if it's a work injury, the first thing to think about, and this is something that almost nobody thinks about and no lawyers tell you, the first cap on what we're going to be able to get you is the level of insurance, right? So let's say you're in a car crash with somebody and you didn't have car insurance or you had liability only insurance, and the other guy only has a $50,000 insurance policy, but your medical bills are quite high, or you broke your leg or something like that, or you had to have shoulder surgery. Well, under normal circumstances, if you had $50,000, $60,000 in medical bills and a surgery, that is definitely a six-figure case, right? That's a case that we're going to hit 100 or beat it. But what happens if the other guy had a low limit of insurance, 25 or 25,000, and you didn't have any full coverage or underinsured motorist coverage? Or let's say you did have it and you had state minimums, which in Illinois is 25,000. So then, basically what we do is we collect the policy for you as fast as possible, and then we do an asset search on the person who ran into you. And if the car they hit you with is the only car they own, they don't own a home, they don't have a professional license like doctor, lawyer, we do a corporate search to see, do they own a corporation or a business or a company? We do a property search. Do they own a house, houses, condos? Do they own an airplane, a boat? How many cars? All of this stuff. And if we're dealing with a person who has, state minimum coverage or 50, it's called 2550 is the state minimum. 5100 is one step up from that, and then you go to 100, 300. Most people who have assets, have money, are professionals, or, got a bunch of money or were born into a bunch of money, they usually buy like higher limit insurance. So our first clue that the value of your case is going to be lower than 100, even though the value of it is more than 100, the collectibility is not going to be there, right? In other words, we could collect the 25 and attempt to go against the person who hurt you personally. But if they've got like no job, or a job where they can barely pay their bills, and they don't own anything, we can go to court, spend 2 years, get you a piece of paper saying that they owe you $200,000, but it's a piece of paper that disappears the minute they file for bankruptcy. And that's usually what they do. So, in other words, the first criteria is there enough insurance, or is the person we're suing, or entities or companies or people we're suing, are they rich? Do they have enough insurance or enough personal assets to be able to pay a $100,000 case? So that's like the first thing I always talk about, because no lawyers ever tell people that. The cool thing is, even if your case settles for a smaller amount, you always end up with money in your pocket based on a lot of criteria. Even if there's crummy insurance, you're going to end up with some money in your pocket. That's, you need a lawyer in cases like that to make sure that that happens. The second thing to think about is, look, when you're talking six figures, when you're talking a six-figure case, 100 grand or more, I need to see a broken bone, torn ligaments, a herniated disc, a blown out knee, some kind of carpal tunnel. We need something that is like a surgical case, a surgery, something like that. And if you really want to make sure that your case is worth $100,000 or more, we're really looking for some permanence, right? A permanent injury. If you have a broken bone, a torn ligament with a surgery and some permanent deficits, you are absolutely in the six-figure or higher club. What if you get whiplash? What if there's a disc bulge but not a herniation? What if you get better with therapy? Those are not the kinds of cases that are easy to get to the $100,000 mark, although sometimes we can in certain circumstances. So if you have, if it's a neck and back injury, let's say you have like a herniated disc with radicular pain, but due to other health conditions, you can't have surgery, but you have chronic pain. Well, that's when the permanence of the injury is something that we accentuate when we're trying to add value and maximize what we get you in your injury case. So in other words, just imagine if you were on a jury, somebody tells you that for 3 or 4 months they were in terrible pain and then they got better and they have an occasional ache and pain now, but they don't go to a doctor, they don't take medicine. Think about what you think that might be worth. Is it, do they deserve $10,000 or $20,000 maybe for that amount of money? Maybe I'm cheap. Maybe they deserve $30,000 or $40,000 for 3 or 4 months of pain and physical therapy. Some of you listening might be, DeSalvo, you're crazy. That's only worth, $4,000 or $5,000. But that's the ballpark we're playing in. Somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000 and $50,000, depending on the person, right? Same story, but let's say somebody ended up having a neck surgery and they have permanent hardware in their neck and it limits their movement. And the doctor testifies that over the course of years, they're going to get arthritis in the level above and the level below, and they may end up having to have another surgery in the future. Different story, right? That's a six-figure case. Same scenario, the doctor says because of their other health conditions, they can't have the surgery, or they're afraid to have the surgery, or their father was killed in a medical malpractice case, so they're terrified of going under the knife. And now this person has this permanent neck problem that they can't fix. And he goes to the doctor once a month, and he's on pain pills, and he quit his bowling league, and he had to change jobs where he makes less money, and he can barely do that job. And that's permanent for the rest of his life. What's that worth? Well, that's a six-figure case too. Well, I should say it's an above six-figure case. It's definitely a valuable case. So it's, the medical treatment, the seriousness of the injury, how obvious the injury is. You can't miss a broken bone or a torn ligament. You can't miss a surgery. And then the question is, how permanent is the injury? Another thing to think about is lost wages. If you were able to, if you only missed a few days or a few weeks, we'll make a claim for that and get you compensated for it. But if you lost your job because you can't do it anymore, and that's permanent, and they tell you that you could go from making, $30 an hour, $35 an hour doing your old job that you can't do anymore, and now you're down to, $15, $17 an hour, and you have to do sitting work, and, you didn't go to school for that kind of stuff, and so you got to work part-time at a gas station for $15 an hour. That adds up. That's a lot of money. Your wage loss alone is going to get you to six figures. Last thing to think about, and again, this is sort of inside baseball stuff. The last thing to figure is that there are lawyers out there, and insurance companies track whether lawyers file lawsuits, whether lawyers litigate cases, whether lawyers accept first offers or second offers on cases. They track all that stuff. And so if you're trying to handle your claim by yourself, they are going to pull out all the dirty tricks to get you to take as little money as possible, even though you have a potential six-figure case. So they absolutely do that. Or if you're with a lawyer, a guy that you saw on the billboard, or a guy that does high volume. The way high volume law practices work is they sign up as many cases as possible, settle them as fast as possible, and the value for them comes in the volume. So even if they get you $70,000 on a case that should be $140,000, if they can get that money quick and then start working on the next case, that's their business model. Well, I hate that business model because it makes you look at injured people like just a number and not sort of like realize this is a real human being and you're their lawyer and they're trusting you to get them everything that you can get them in the case. So, I hate that business model. I hate it when lawyers get lowball offers for no reason and then, and then push it down their clients' throats. It's crap. I don't like it. I don't think it's fair. Obviously, I don't do that. Now, that's not to say there aren't things in cases that will make them more difficult to prove, right? So, for example, in Illinois, unless it's, if it's a workers' comp case, this doesn't really apply, but in every other kind of case, like dog bite, bar fight, car crash, truck crash, motorcycle accident, what you get in damages at trial is reduced by your percentage of fault, meaning if a jury or a judge decides that the other guy is 90% at fault and you're 10% at fault and your damages are $100,000, they reduce your damages by your percentage of fault. So instead of getting $100,000, you'd get $90,000. So can they credibly make an argument that you were at fault or partially at fault? And the other thing is, if they can convince a judge or jury that you were more than 50% at fault, guess what happens? If it's more than 50% at fault, you don't get paid. That's the law in Illinois. So, you need somebody to help you position the case for a strong argument that the other side is 100% responsible or close to 100% responsible. And if the evidence is very clear that you're partially at fault, that's going to reduce the numbers a little bit. And, I'm just frank with my clients. That will reduce the numbers in these cases. So anyway, I hope that information helps you have an idea about whether your case might be worth $100,000 or more. If you are dealing with a situation like that, or you need help, or you have any questions, regardless of how you got hurt or how much you think the case might be worth, I would be happy to talk to you, answer your questions, and obviously represent you if you need a lawyer. So the easiest way to reach me is to call me anytime, night or day. The phone line gets answered 24/7, 365. You can reach me at 312-500-4500. That's 312-500-4500. If you're not ready to talk to a lawyer, I have two really cool tools on my website that I'd like you to check out. The first one is called the Good Case Calculator. In 15 seconds flat, you just answer 6 multiple choice questions really quick. 15 seconds flat, without talking to a lawyer, with no obligation, completely free. It tells you whether you might have a good case or whether you have a case that might have some challenges. So that's the first one, completely free, link in the description. The second cool tool for you, completely free, no obligation, is the Case Cash Calculator. So same thing, it literally takes 15-20 seconds to complete because it's just a couple of quick multiple choice questions. You answer the questions, no lawyer to talk to. It tells you what the value of your case might be worth, how much money your case might be worth. Link in the description, free to use. If you enjoy my videos, please consider clicking like and subscribing to the video. If you have a comment or a suggestion for a new video, please leave it in the comments section below. I'd appreciate it. I'll shoot a copy of the video and send it to you, and I'll put it on my channel. Happy to answer it. Won't put any personally identifying information in the video. And finally, if you would not mind, if you like my videos, you appreciate the information I provide for injured people, please consider giving me a 5-star review on Google. Very competitive market. It literally takes you 5 seconds, but that review is invaluable to me because when people are looking for a lawyer on the internet, they really rely on the Google reviews. So I've got the link in the description. All you do is cut and paste it into a web browser, go there, click 5 stars, say a kind word, hit submit. As I said, 5 seconds for you to do it, invaluable to me, and I would really appreciate it. So I hope you and your family are well, If I can do anything for you, please feel free to reach out. But until next time, take care. Have a great day.